In this video, I'm going to talk about everything you need to know in order to self-study for an AP exam, and not just that, but get a 5. I've been able to successfully self-study for AP exams and get perfect scores, so I'm going to go over everything that you need to know in order to do this as well, from building a study plan to the resources that you need to use. Before deciding to self-study for an AP, first of all, you need to diagnose two things: whether you have the motivation to do it and whether you have the time. First off, you need to figure out whether you have the motivation. In order to do that, figure out why you're taking this exam. Why does it matter to you? Are you taking it because you had a conflict of classes and weren't able to take the AP class you wanted? Colleges understand this and aren't going to penalize you for not taking the AP course of your choice. Does your school not offer APs? Again, colleges aren't going to expect you to have an AP on your transcript if your school doesn't offer this. However, there are reasons beyond this that you may choose to take APs, such as trying to maximize the amount of college credits you get before college in order to save yourself some time or save money. And that's one of the reasons that I chose to self-study. You also may want to try to stand out and showcase your diligence and motivation and hard work to colleges by doing something exceptional, such as self-studying for an AP exam. Overall, just the important thing is to make sure that you really are committed to doing this and that you're willing to study and prepare over 2 semesters so that you can be prepared for the exam, because it takes a long time and it's going to be very easy to give up along the way if you're not motivated. One important thing to note is that if you did have a course conflict, then I'd recommend taking the regular or the honors level course at your high school and choosing to take the AP exam after that in order to minimize the amount of self-studying that you have to do. That will make sure that you only have about 1 or 2 months of self-studying instead of basically 8. So the second thing you need to diagnose is whether you have the time. Depending on the AP exam, you're going to need more or less time to self-study, but I'd really recommend making sure that you have an extra half hour every single day in the school year. If you're taking a more difficult class, such as physics or calculus, some of those STEM classes, then you may need to put forth more time. And if you're taking a class such as the language class and you're a native speaker, you may not need to spend quite so much time either. In order to get a passing score, you need to at least plan on spending a half hour each day. If you're aiming for a 5, you need to plan to spend about an hour every day, plus or minus, depending on your comfort level with material on the exam starting off. So if you have the motivation to self-study for an AP exam and you have the time, let's talk about the nitty-gritty and how you can do this. So first off, you need to figure out how to study, what you're going to fill that time with. The 2 things I recommend for students, no matter what AP course you're taking, is first, to buy a prep book. It could be Barron's, Princeton, whatever. I use Princeton. However, I know lots of students have found plenty of success with other textbooks, and find the one that fits you, fits your learning style. So yeah, first buy a prep book. Second, talk to a local AP teacher for that subject. If your school doesn't offer APs, go to a local public school that does offer that particular AP course and ask them for recommendations on what study materials they would use. I've obviously not taken every single AP, and there are some course-specific AP study materials that they're going to be more aware of, such as for history and social science students, Heimler's history. Some other resources that you can find to be really helpful are Khan Academy. They don't offer study aids for every single AP course, but they do for the majority of the most popular ones. And going through their lessons and their problems will really help you to be able to get a good score on the exam. The last resource you should use is really only necessary within about the last 2 months before you take the exam, and that's all of the old FRQs that College Board has released on the internet. it's important that you work through some of those old practice problems and try to maximize your score, because in most of the exams, your FRQs are going to be just as important as your multiple choice. And taking the prep book, taking Khan Academy, help you with those multiple choice questions, but not so much with the FRQs. Make sure you study what kind of questions they're asking, what particular Q question words mean, and also what kinds of problems you tend to see over and over again. Practice with the FRQs until you're consistently getting the majority of the points. Even have a sibling or a parent grade your FRQs instead of you in order to have an unbiased grader. Also, make sure you take some of the practice tests during the very end of your studying time from the prep book that you've chosen to buy. So what order should you do all this in? Now, depends again on how much time you're studying per day and what your goal score is. But first off, start off by reading your prep book. And I'd recommend trying to read it 2 or 3 times before you take the exam. Once during the first semester, certainly once right before the exam, like within those last 2 or 3 months before the exam, and one other time in between. Also, to use the resources that the AP teacher you've talked to has provided you. And if you're taking Khan Academy, then just complete one lesson each day. And even do all of those lessons over again if you have time. One last thing I recommend you doing when you're using that prep book is taking notes, highlighting, and looking up anything that you're not familiar with. Also create flashcards with vocabulary definitions, formulas, just depends on the AP exam you're taking again. Maybe it's vocab for your foreign language, just so that you're able to review the information you're learning as you go and you don't forget it all. So these were the resources I used. Just as a brief overview again, they were Khan Academy, prep book, FRQs that College Board has chosen to release, Heimler's History, or other resources recommended by my local AP teacher, and creating my own flashcards. All of these things help me to be able to get 5 on multiple exams. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then please like and subscribe. This is an extracurricular that I'm doing over the summer, and so you can really help me get into the colleges of my dreams by choosing to engage with my channel. Additionally, you can help me pay for college by subscribing and helping me monetize my channel. It's completely free to you, and you can do it just while staying at home, but also helping me achieve my dreams. So would really appreciate it if you choose to engage with my channel. Again, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it helps you to self-study for your AP exams and to get a 5, a perfect score, because I know you can do it. So good luck on those exams.